Today I want to show you a formula that works on why do people quit. So this is a huge question in martial arts, and indeed this can be applied to any part of life. This can have to do with relationships, friendships, work, any type of outdoor activity whatsoever. Why do people quit is always the number one question people ask. Why do people quit? And there's a formula to this. What you have to do is think about bullet points. Bullet points in your life. How important are things to you? If I told you to name the top 5 things in your life that are vitally important to you, that you couldn't live without, your top priorities in your life, I would venture to say most people would say family is one, or it's one of the top 3. Family is huge. Love ties everything together, so there's nothing more satisfying perhaps to most people than family. Spending time with your wife, your husband, spending time with your children, spending time at home with pets and friends and things like that. So family is huge because a lot of us base our self-worth on family. Number 2, you might say, well, definitely work, because without work I can't have money to train, I can't pay my mortgage, I can't buy clothes, I can't do anything. So you need to call this work. And I'm going to make a slash here for younger people. This might be school. If you're between the ages of, I don't know, 8 and 18, your school might be very important to you. I have to go to school. I have no choice. I need an education to become something in life. So work and school might be the second most important. Now, after these 2, I believe we could argue quite a bit on what's most important. And don't take these as a literal formula for everybody's life. This is just something that I notice. And your life might be very different. Your bullet points might have a completely different order of importance. For me, personally, when I was much younger, between the ages of, let's say, 12 and 45, Budo to me was number 3. It was extremely important, and in some ways it actually superseded number 2. Now, I didn't train, and overlook my family and friends, but my Budo training was so important to me because to me it was a way of life. Without this training, the other 2 could not be the best that they could be. What I find is when people start to train, Budo is very high up on their bullet point list. But then, eventually, over time, when you're in the program long enough, you have several belts under you, you're going to have other things start to slip into your life. And I'll call these things external activities. So things that weren't as important before are now more important. Now these could be, I'll just give you several here. I'm going to change my writing tool. External activities might be anything from a new relationship. So say you fall in love with someone. Well, you're going to want to go out and date. You're going to want to skip class to do that. External things may be other activities such as sports. So you may be a younger person, you love martial arts, but it's soccer season and you want to go do that for a month, or it's baseball, you want to go play that for a month. These are things that can come into play. You have television, which is absolutely huge. People just love to vegetate and watch TV. Human beings are naturally very lazy, so we like to vegetate and watch TV. And then you have things like games. So you might be a gamer out there, and it's more important to you to play Battlefield than to actually go and train. You enjoy living in a fantasy-based life, or a 2D life versus 3D, and that could be computers. So how much time do you spend on Facebook or YouTube when you could be training? These are all things that will supersede your martial art training. Now, having said that, there are things that are legitimately reasons why you would stop training. So let's call these legitimate reasons why you might stop training. So you might stop training because you have to move. So you're in the military and you're relocated to another base. You have to go. Well, that's a legitimate reason to stop training. You have to move. Or many people who train 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, all of a sudden their job makes them have to move. So your job makes you relocate. And you have no choice. If you don't move, you will lose your job. And you can either find a job locally, or you have to go where the money is. And your family will pressure you for these. So those are okay. Money. A lot of people don't have the money to train. And remember, martial arts was considered a luxury in life. To train in martial arts, you had to have money. Now, money to me, I would call an excuse. And a lot of people may not agree with that, but I don't care. Because when I started training in the 1980s, I had zero money. I had $0. Yet the passion in me was so strong that I went out and got 3 jobs. I had a full-time job and I had 2 part-time, just so that I could train, have a car to drive, pay my tuition in martial arts, buy the gear I needed to, and most importantly, spend hundreds and even thousands of dollars on seminars. I would travel. I would buy plane tickets. I would buy 3-day seminar fees for hundreds of dollars to train with my teachers. So to me, when someone says I don't have the money to train, I do understand that, and I have compassion, of course, but money is everywhere, especially in the United States. There's no excuse here why you can't go out and earn money. I have kids that will rake leaves for their training. They will mow lawns, they will shovel snow, they will work somewhere to earn money. So to me, money is not a valid excuse long term. You maybe have lost your job and you have to pay your rent. I understand that completely. But there's no excuse for that. Money, I believe, is not as valid as some other reasons. Now, other reasons people quit is when you start to, you have a high degree of learning when you start in martial arts. You start as a white belt, and then the learning curve is massive, and you're always, every single day you come in, you're so excited to learn. Well, that slows down after a while because you need something called muscle memory. So without the repetition, you're never going to be good at martial arts. So you need years and years and years of doing the same techniques and principles over and over and over again to get good. So the learning curve will slow down. So you have passion as a bullet point. How passionate are you about your martial arts? But then you have the negative side over here. You have something called fear, which you could read as future events appearing real. Fear is a huge factor in people quitting. They're afraid of success, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. People are afraid to commit to things. They're afraid to challenge themselves. They're afraid that their dreams actually might come true. So when you have fear, that brings about self-doubt. Self-doubt is the worst killer of dreams. It's the #1 reason people quit, although they don't admit it. It takes a very strong person to admit that they have doubt about their abilities. They lack confidence, so they don't have the confidence that they used to have. When you start out, you can be very confident. But the more that you test, the more that you have more difficult principles in Budo, and again, this can go for any activity, your confidence can be shot very easily. That might have to do with a teacher yelling at you, or you having a test that you fail. You see people surpass you. So we have laziness is a huge one. Again, as I mentioned, people are just lazy. So if you're lazy, you will quit. If you never had a male or even a female role model that really made you go through things in life, whether you wanted to or not, if you didn't have any role models that were positive, that forced you to do things because they knew it would benefit you, your laziness, which is natural in me and everybody else, will overtake you. You'll start to make up excuses why you can't train. You'll stop coming to class. You'll start to watch TV, game. You'll hang out with other people more. You'll use excuses why you can't train. So laziness is huge. Another factor why people quit is envy. So people are envious of others' success. They get very jealous when someone moves ahead of them in their dojo or their training group. They see someone who gets another black belt and they have stopped training for 2 years, and they get very jealous of that person. Oh my gosh, John got his 3rd degree and I'm still at a green belt, and I want to pull John down because I don't believe John should have a 3rd degree. I should have a 3rd degree. So now we go into the bullet point of ego. A huge factor in why people quit is ego. My ego does not allow John to succeed. It does not allow John to move ahead of me. So if I have a big ego or arrogance here, I will quit. Because I'll show them I'm not going to show up anymore. I'll show them I'll stop coming to the dojo. I'll stop coming to this activity. I am jealous of this person moving forward, so to show them and get back at them, I'm going to quit training. So ego and envy kind of tie together, and those are things that we need to overcome if we really want long-term success. If you want to be a failure in life, you can allow envy to take over and allow your ego to dictate what you do and don't accomplish. And the ego is always going to make you quit. It's always going to make you think you're the top dog when you're not. So these are some things here. So if we have to summarize, here's what happens. Here's the crux of it, of why people quit, is their martial arts training used to be quite high up on the list. Martial arts may have been the 3rd bullet point, number 3. And then we might have had, again, work, school, might have had family, number 1. Well, what happens is martial arts starts to slip down. Other things in my life become far more important. Rather than going to the dojo tonight, I would rather go out drinking with friends. So that's social parts come into play. Well, rather than going up to martial arts, I'd rather go to sewing class. So these external activities start to push in. Rather than go to martial arts, I would rather go home and watch television. I'd rather watch YouTube. I'd rather watch martial arts being done rather than actually get out and do them. So I'd rather live in a fantasy-based life than a real one. I enjoy reading the books and watching the DVDs, so I like the fantasy of the books and the DVDs, and I love those, and I watch videos, and I comment, and I watch UFC, and I watch ninja movies, and all these things are wonderful, but I don't want to get off my butt and do the physical activity it takes to actually be good at this. And most people won't admit that. It's too difficult. That's the ego. Most people won't admit that they're lazy and they like a fantasy-based life. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. Just admit it. Don't come in and tell your sensei that you're going to come train and then 2 months later you quit because you'd rather watch it rather than do it because it gets difficult. So we have other activities. We have friends. I want to hang out with my friends. There's nothing wrong with that. But when the friendships, your friends start pressuring you, and your family can pressure you not to come train. They'd rather have you stay home. They want your time. They vie for your time. They love you. That's okay, but just realize that the more you do that, your martial arts is going to go down and down and down the list of priorities. Once the martial arts hits number 4, 5, and beyond, chances are this person will quit. So here we go back full circle. When the priorities change, and this will happen to all of us, there's no way of getting around that. When, not if, when priorities change, that is the precipice that you stand upon. That's when you either quit or you keep going. Now for myself, Budo was always number 1 through 4. It never changed. Unless I had health issues. I had a surgery. I had 2 back surgeries, so Budo slipped way past health. Health had to go to number 1. Because without health, you can't do anything. So health is way up there. When you have a sickness of some sort, you have a broken arm, you're injured, go ahead and take care of that and then push Budo back after your health has recovered. You may have a child. You have a child. You have to stop Budo training to take care of your child. We understand that. You may lose your job. But there are so many excuses that will take over your martial art training. And people are masters at fooling themselves. They are masters at coming up with the most elaborate lies and stories and excuses of why they can't train. when actually if they just had truth and honesty, then there would be no issues. No sensei likes it better than when someone comes up to them and tells them the truth. Sensei, I just don't like it anymore. Teacher, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather spend my money on cable than to come train. I'd rather spend $110 on Showtime and HBO and my sports channel because I just don't want to get on the mat and sweat. That's honest, and there's nothing wrong with that. I salute people. I respect them more when they're honest. Remember that these bullet points will always change. You will fluctuate depending on your age and circumstances. But I'm telling you now, if you push martial arts or any activity again, this applies to anything in life, label weekly where your bullet points are. This week, my bullet point number 1 might be life and health. This week, my bullet point might be love. I'm in love. It's springtime. I love her. I want to spend every waking moment with her. Screw the dojo. I want to stay home. I want to go to the movies and out to eat with my girl. Understand that's fine. Understand that no, I have this work project I must finish. I must stop coming to the dojo for 2 weeks until this project is finished. Fine, that's understandable. I have to take care of my friends. Someone is in need. Their needs come before mine. That's perfectly acceptable. We understand that. But know that the farther down that martial arts training gets, you will not become a black belt. You will not succeed. You will see your friends surpass you if you take time off. Just understand that because our bullet points changed, well, so did our goals and dreams. Where are your bullet points in life? Go ahead and mark them today and then pull the list out a month from now and see if it's the same. I'll bet it won't be. But if you want to succeed at Budo, if you want to succeed at martial arts, if you want to be a true ninja, you have to realize that the sword must stay over the heart. This is the part, the heart, the spirit that's going to keep you training. I cannot function in other parts of my life without Budo. Now, I know that that's weird and it's 1 in a million. I know that. I run a martial arts school, so my money, my time is vested in my training. Would I have continued to train without money or friendship or passion? Probably not. But that's my circumstance. So my Budo training for me is always number 1 through 3. It ties into my family. It ties into my work. I work better when I train. I'm a better person when I train. I take care of my family better when I train. I earn more money when I train. I have more passion. My relationships are better. My friendships are better. My social life is better. Excuses don't exist when I train. I don't make excuses in life. I get it done. My time management is incredible when I train. So a lot of people stop training because they have poor time management. No, time management is very easy if you put your mind to it. My money and my researches, my ambitions, all of these things, my ego stays in check. Fear goes away. Passion increases. My desire to learn goes way up. My self-defense skills go way up. My self-doubt goes way down. All of this has to do, again, with your passion. What is your love in life? What do you want to do with your life? I can't force it upon you. You have to consider this. You have to think about this stuff all the time. And I know this is a long-winded thing, but it's just a way of making sure that we realize that life is about choices. It's a set of choices that I can wake up every day and decide to or not to do. And your martial art training is just another choice. It's another thing in my life. Okay, until next time, write down your bullet points, find out where they are in your life, know that they'll change, and make the right choices to know that you can increase them and bring them up every single day by the words and actions that you use. And realize when your Budo training is slipping down the notch, it's going to fall off one day, so we need to remedy that and fix it. Everything in life is about fixing our issues with our heart, our spirit, and our intelligence. Until next time, have a good day, and we'll see you soon.